All right, are we ready to go? Well, good evening. I'm going to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Redevelopment Commission. And we're going to start off with a roll call. Seth?
Absolutely. Sherry Bryant.
Present.
Jimmy Dillahunt.
Here.
Sarah Proctor. Leander Morgan. Steve Strickland.
Here.
Julius Parkin.
Here.
Vari Wallace. Beth Walker.
Here.
Kip Paraguay.
Here.
Rick Krill. Barbara Best. Hazel Royal.
Here.
I would like to note that Commissioner Morgan sent me a text this afternoon and wanted to express his apologies to the commission for not being here this evening.
As did Commissioner Proctor as well. So both of those are excused. But Madam Chair, we do have quorum.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for, it was a little difficult getting through the minutes quick. I know everybody was under pressure, so I appreciate everybody taking the time to read those closed session minutes. But the first thing we're going to do is approve the agenda. You see it on the cover of your packet. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at it. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Oh, okay, the motion carries. Next, I would like to entertain a motion to approve those closed session minutes that we read.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. I want to ask the question, if someone had a mark or a change to be made, does that need to be acknowledged in the approval of the motion?
Yes, ma'am. If there have been some editorial comments made on the minutes, it may be appropriate to allow staff to incorporate those comments into the draft minutes for everybody to review. That way everybody's on the same page about the contents of the minutes.
Okay.
So the motion should be approve the closed session minutes with any necessary corrections or additions.
You could move forward with the motion to approve the minutes that you saw tonight. Alternatively, if there have been comments that have been made, you can entertain a motion to adopt closed session minutes at your next regular scheduled meeting. That way everybody has an opportunity to see the comments. At this point, the only people who know what comments were made were the person who actually wrote the comments, and everybody doesn't have the benefit of that information.
Okay.
So that everyone knows what the minutes say, it may be appropriate to approve those minutes at the next meeting.
Madam Chairman, I will take my motion off the table.
And you said you are voting to approve items that you may not like in that, so you can vote against it. Am I correct?
Yep.
Right. The motion was to approve that the meeting minutes documented what was said in closed session.
Okay, and that's all documented.
That's
No
right.
action.
That they documented it.
Okay.
Correct.
But that motion has been removed.
I've been
It has been
removed
removed.
because of what the city attorney helped us with there.
And I guess let's have a discussion. Were there significant changes? Did anyone make any changes? You don't say what they are, but did anyone feel to change the
I think
text?
grammatical.
Yeah, well, grammatical and a note of an attachment, not
Okay.
being there, I mean, nothing.
No contextual changes.
I definitely think there need to be some changes in those minutes.
So you do not believe that they reflected the discussion?
There wasn't a vote, and it did reflect the closed sessions. If that's what you're asking me, yes.
Okay, right, and that is really, it's, I know the steps, there's a lot of steps in there, but we're just approving that they said what was, that they documented what was said,
Okay.
not that there was a vote.
I can
Yes,
make
sir.
that motion.
Okay,
We make a motion that the closed session meeting is to be approved on what was said at that closed session.
okay, so we have a motion again. Do we have a second?
I think, just for clarity for Mr. Dillon, I think the reason I took the motion off the table, which you're saying when you got, is because we wanted to make sure that there were any corrections or additions that would to be added to it, then we would get the correct minutes
Okay.
again. So that's why we took it off.
So perhaps there should be a motion made to review the minutes again next session.
Well, there's a motion on the table at this point to approve the closed session minutes that were distributed. I think at this point, we need to determine whether that motion is going to have a second.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Motion died.
No second.
So
Would someone like to put forth another motion?
at this point, if you want to give staff direction to amend the minutes as those amendments have been communicated, they can recirculate closed session minutes before your next meeting, and you can reconsider closed session minutes at that time.
All right, so we don't need a motion to
No.
direct staff?
No.
Then I believe that is the pleasure of the commission to review those after you've incorporated the changes.
I see a lot of nodding heads. I'll take
Okay.
that direction.
All right, thank you. So now we will start the meeting in,
Madam Chair, I don't mean to interrupt, but we
Yes.
do have the minutes from the open session November meeting that are attached to your agenda as well, for your consideration.
November the 8th.
oh, okay. They are in our packet, aren't they?
I never got these until you handed them out a few minutes ago.
They were in the email that was sent last week.
So I printed all that, and there's no minutes in that, because I looked harder for them, but, I mean, the draft agenda you sent out last week? Well, I'm sorry, they didn't print out, I don't know what I did.
Oh, you know?
Did you get them, Julius?
I can't open nothing Zeb sends me.
I do not have them in that packet either.
know.
I don't.
They weren't.
But they were handed out tonight.
It's perfectly acceptable to take your time and review them, and we can review, we can vote on all of them in January.
That's fine.
That's
Let-
totally acceptable.
Let's do that.
I think that's the best way to move
Okay.
forward. So everyone review the minutes from November, and then we will also look at the closed session minutes again
Yeah,
in January.
absolutely.
Okay,
Good deal.
so no approval of minutes. Let's be of one accord now and do our guiding principles. And I will start, I see that you have the goods in your hand, Mr. Dillahunt. I'll let you start with number 1.
Past, present, future, equal time.
Respect others' opinions.
Listen to build consensus.
Share accurate information, public perception.
Stay focused, be action-oriented.
And everybody together?
Be alive.
Believe.
I'm sorry.
Believe. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Now is our time for public comments. I do want to remind the public that there is a 4-minute limit. Do we have anyone that would like to address the board this evening? Seeing none, we will move on. The next item on the agenda, item number 7, is to consider amending a purchase agreement for 209 Bryant Street. And this, I believe this item is a property that we've already approved, and the reason we want to amend the purchase agreement is that the time has gone on before the person actually had the property
Yeah, without.
take possession of it. I don't-
There's
that well.
an issue with the deed. Go ahead.
And I'm happy to discuss it, Madam Chair, members of the commission. So as you recall, Mr. C.E. Diggs made an offer to purchase and was the final highest bidder for 209 Bryant Street some time ago. There was, in his offer to purchase, he had 30 days to settle or close on the property from the date that the Board of Aldermen gave their final approval of the sale. Mr. Diggs, in doing his due diligence, is my understanding, because of the significant financial investment he's going to make in improving these properties, went to seek title insurance for the property and was notified of a defect in title. That's not a problem for you all because you conveyed the property by quitclaim deed, you made no warranties. But in order for Mr. Deeds to move forward with the construction as contemplated, he would need to have title insurance, and he has to quiet, to clean up the chain of title, to put it simply. And he's not going to be able to do that very soon. So what he has requested, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Huff, is that you all consider amending the deed that you all previously approved to either remove or extend the time it would take for him to begin construction. I think he has forecasted that he has either retained or is in the process of retaining an attorney to help him clean up the chain of title and would need some time for that action to go forward before he can begin construction. I think the term that is in the deed is 12 months for this property. Am I right, Mr. Huff?
That's correct.
He will not be able to begin construction within 12 months. So the path forward for you all is to give us some instruction about whether this is an amendment you would like to entertain. So option one is to remove the provision in the deed, the restrictive covenant that requires construction within a certain time period. Option B is to amend that condition to extend that time period beyond 12 months to some other number. I'm happy to contact Mr. Diggs' attorney to get some more clarity about what timeframes we're talking about for your consideration. Or you can do nothing. If that is the case, if you're sticking by the 12-month time frame, it may be that Mr. Diggs is unable to move forward with the project as planned. So staff is soliciting some direction from you all about what is the pleasure of the majority of these members, and then we can move forward to take steps to effectuate whatever is your pleasure.
And you said that Mr. Diggs has already hired an attorney to help
That's
clean
correct.
up that
In
title.
Jackson.
So would one of our options be to start the clock, so to speak, once that title has been cleared?
It can, and I think Mr. Diggs has forecasted a time period that is around 36 months. I'm not certain if that's
36 months?
I'm not certain if that's a firm number, I'm not sure, but we certainly can investigate how long it would take for him to quiet title or at least commence that proceedings and bring that information back to you so you all have some more facts to consider about whether you're willing to entertain this request.
I think it's important to note also, just for the benefit of the commission, that the defect on the title will be there, and the significant cost and time will not only be spent now. It's not a Diggs specific problem; it's a title specific problem. So remedying this problem will need to happen, and it will take a prolonged amount of time to do it, no matter when that starts.
And then the end result, just for clarity, if we don't do nothing, we don't amend it, does the property come back to the redevelopment commission? Because he was not able to fulfill his obligation?
If Mr. Diggs chooses not to move forward with closing, title still remains with the redevelopment commission. However, the title defect also remains. So anyone else in the world who would want to buy this property, who may be interested in getting title insurance, may experience the same issue.
Okay.
Mr. Strickland looks like he has a question.
Well, I've got two documents in front of me. One is, I guess, a proposed resolution that says to extend the settlement.
Yes, sir. You can disregard both of those documents.
Okay.
There was some additional clarity provided today about Mr. Diggs' specific request. So the documents that have been included in your packet were based on some previous conversations. The request tonight is for you all to give staff some instructions about what your pleasure is and what, if any, information you would need in order to consider his requests further.
So there's still a desire to go forward with purchasing the property now and settling that up. He just wants to, we just need basically an extension of time to meet our building requirements.
Yes, sir. But how much time, that's something that we would need to report back to you.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, 36 months is kind of a shocker. How does this impact, if it does at all, the West Street property that he also bought, that he was supposed to start construction in 24 months?
I believe the West Street property has been
Has been what?
Forfeit,
It's back to us.
yeah.
Okay. Madam Chairman, my recommendation on this issue is that we would extend the time for 1 year, and after 1 year, kind of get an idea of where this gentleman is. And if it seems as though there's no movement in it, then, I think, we just need to get the property back. We're giving him an extension of another year to iron out some things. And if there's no move on it within a year, it lets me know either he can't do it or he's not pushing to get it done. 3 years to me seems a long time.
It does.
It does. 3 years seems to be a long
And
time.
3 years may not be his ask.
Right.
That was just a projection that has been
Gotcha.
offered about the length of time the quiet title process could take. It may be that he can begin construction before that process is completed.
Mhm.
We don't know those facts yet.
Okay.
But before we investigate further, if your appetite is to not make any amendment, that's good for us to know. We don't have to expend that time and resources. But if your appetite is to try to accommodate Mr. Diggs in some regard, then we can further investigate and get some information to come back to you with a firm request for you to consider.
And any particular reason for forfeiting Act 21?
I don't have that information, but I'll be happy to get it for you.
I mean, that was a package deal that we approved with the purpose of getting 2 houses created, one for residents and the other for rental property for low and moderate income families, and he's given up on that one.
That's what I'm thinking. A year should give us an idea if this gentleman is sincere about what he wants to do.
Well, I think I'd like to direct staff to get a specific date for us to consider, because we're all sitting up here with nothing but conjecture right now. 36 months shocks a lot of us.
Yeah.
But if it's only for a year, I think that's a different consideration for us to deal with. So, yeah, we're kind of shooting in the dark right now, as far as I'm concerned, for that. And
You also bring up a good point. It was a package deal.
Yeah.
There were 2 lots involved, so I would like staff to also investigate if this is a lot he's planning to use for his personal residence, or is this one he would then be wanting to rent as an investment?
And just as a point of clarity, you all adopted separate resolutions to initiate the upset bid and ultimately approve the sale of these properties individually. So.
we did.
We did,
You
yeah.
did. So when you're talking about this being a package deal, you may want to reflect upon the fact that they were the redevelopment plan that was presented to you all included both properties, but your processes for selling them were separate.
Correct.
And I will definitely get some feedback as to why the forfeiture happened. It might be the same kind of title defects, and he could take one, but he couldn't take both. So rather than sit here and have more conjecture, let me get some clarity, and I'll report back to the commission.
Mhm.
But I am hearing commissioners express interest in having staff look at that, because I think we would still want to, help Mr. Diggs with this project. We're not opposed to that. Am I?
Yes.
I'm seeing head nods, okay.
Okay.
So we don't have a resolution tonight, a motion for an amended agreement. We just want you to find out a better time frame and maybe the use of that property.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other things you would like Jamie or Zeb to find out? Nothing, Mr. Gilliland? Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Agenda item number 8 is to consider accepting a request to purchase. We have a presentation from someone who is looking to purchase 808 Bern Street and 810 Bern Street. And I have met this gentleman earlier on site and only know him as Anthony. So I don't know how to pronounce the last name, and I do believe his friend Phil is here to tell us the potential for the property. Am I correct?
I'll make it as quickly as I can. Antonio wants to build we sent you a simple sketch. I'm assuming you have.
That's all that's right.
Have you seen that?
I have seen it. Is it in our packet tonight?
Yes,
Okay,
it's in the
yes.
stuff we just got.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
that is it.
It's on the internet.
Yes.
Posted since last Friday.
Okay.
Antonio
We
lives,
have
Antonio lives right across the street from this property, and the home that he's going to build there is for his son, who's also with us tonight. So any questions as to what his intentions are, I'm sure he would be happy to answer those, or if there's anything I can answer for you, then I'll be happy to do that.
And just for the record, I did not mean to give such a bad introduction, but I didn't want to mispronounce Antonio's last name. Can you tell me?
You want to step up here and tell me? Suchis, and it's hard for me.
Okay, yeah, okay, so we have a plan, and Antonio lives across the street, correct?
Yes,
And so he would like to purchase the property from the Redevelopment Commission to build a single-family home across the street from his home.
that's correct. And of course, he would like to, the good time of year for him to get started on the construction is like February, March. I don't know how fast that can happen, but that's sort of his plan, is to go ahead and, he lives across the street, so he wants to work on it as quickly as he can and as much as he can.
Well, and I will provide a little clarity on our process, and Jamie, you interrupt me if I say anything wrong, please. But at this point in time, it's a time for the commission to hear the plans for the property, and then we will have discussion as to whether it meets the plans we have in the Redevelopment Commission. And at this point in time, it goes to the Housing Work Group to do some research on that, and then bring a recommendation back to the commission at our next meeting. And I believe that is still the process we have in place, so that at this point in time, everybody will be asking questions, then the Housing Work Group would bring back a recommendation at the next meeting for the board to approve.
Okay, very good.
And once the board makes a recommendation or approves accepting the offer that's been presented, then the process would go through the upset bid process. There will be a public notice that's published, and anyone in the world would have an opportunity to upset that bid if they're interested. And then the commission will consider whoever the final highest bidder is, and consider approving the sale at that time.
Does anyone have any questions for Antonio?
And I just wanted to, also for clarity, looking at the drawing that we have, the nice sketch with the house shown on it, it looks like it's one lot. It's really two small lots that would only accommodate one house.
That's correct.
together. That's why we're asking for both of them together.
That's correct.
And you'll have to go through the process of getting them combined into one lot.
Yeah, we will have to do that, but I think that's a pretty easy fix. Or so I'm told. I don't know that process yet.
Okay.
I just knew that we needed to be here first before
Yes.
we move forward.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, and it is encouraging, I know a little bit more about the person who wants to build the house, and he is a builder. And he has a very nice home right across the street that he has taken a house that was in disrepair and made it a very lovely home. So I think that's important to know too, that this man has the skill set to do that, to dedicate to the construction, and I think it's a benefit that he lives across the street. Anyone on the commission? Steve, you have a question?
Just real quick, because it's something that we've done for a prior offer like this, could you possibly, Madam Attorney, I like the conditions that we typically attach to these properties whenever we sell them.
Yes.
I mean, just to make sure there are no issues with that.
Yes, sir. So, this public body has the opportunity to attach conditions or restricted covenants to the conveyance. Some of the covenants that we've seen in the past are a time to begin construction. Other restrictive covenants, could include, whether it's to be a single-family dwelling or a multifamily, to, attempt to have the conveyance mirror the plans that are being forecasted before you all. And though, if there are any conditions that are recommended, those conditions will be included in the public notice and will be subject for anybody who wants to bid on this project.
Okay, good question. Commissioner Bryant, do you have any concerns or questions for Mr. Hedrick?
No.
Commissioner Parham?
Good.
Commissioner Perry?
No.
Okay.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Is there any document that simplifies this process that they could have in hand? I know they're trying to listen intensely and follow the path of what is required, but does this commission have a document that is reader-friendly, that can be given to potential buyers or purchasers of property that can help them navigate through the process? And I don't know if that's Mr. Huff's role to do that, to sit down and talk, but just listening as an individual and then trying to understand and grasp all of this navigation can be very intimidating. And so
Yes.
I would certainly hope that there's some document that we have that can really be reader-friendly, that citizens can take a look at it themselves and understand protocols.
Absolutely, if you don't mind. On the website, there's a link to the adopted procedure protocol for procuring real property from the Redevelopment Commission. I was actually blessed to be able to meet with these fine folks and talk over their plan. So we've talked through this, and they do know the pleasure of the commission and the procedures that need to be followed.
So, sir, you have clarity, you understand protocol, how to move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just in the interest of being helpful, for anyone else who may be watching or listening to the meeting, they can go to the Redevelopment Commission's website, which is on the City of New Bern's website, and the link that Mr. Huff is referring to is titled Guidelines for Purchasing Property in the Redevelopment Commission. Guidelines for Purchasing Redevelopment Commission-Owned Property. If you click on that hyperlink, it will take you to a PDF document that is loading currently, that has literally step-by-step enumerated steps of what the process is and estimated time frame. And then Mr. Huff is always a resource for individuals who might have questions about that process.
100%.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate you coming tonight. It looks like an interesting project, and we look forward to hearing what the Housing Work Group has to say at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Do you need us any more tonight? Or,
And if no one has any questions, we do not.
okay. So you don't mind if we're excused?
You are excused.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas
Yes.
to all.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. All right, agenda item number 9 is the Housing Work Group report. And that is you, Mr. Carrible.
Yeah. Okay. The Housing Work Group met on the 6th of December and had a very robust discussion on several topics. We started with getting updates on ongoing projects. We discussed the trials and tribulations with the CDBG issues on the Eubanks Street house and conveying that to Habitat. We talked about the status of the Walt Bellamy Street housing project, and Zeb will talk more about that, I think, in his report, for a status report. And I don't want to go through this, but read it to you, but it's in your packet. We also talked about the demolition of the 3 houses on A Street, West A Street, and went through, and we did some analysis of past cost related to that, and as opposed to what we're getting for prices today, and Zeb was supposed to look into that for us and get clarity for demolition cost. We discussed several potential sites of interest, I think is the proper term, that we have identified to research a little bit about. And then we also talked about the 808 and 810 Bern Street, knowing that it was going to be coming up soon. And the good thing was that at that time, after that, Beth and Zeb had the opportunity to meet with these individuals. And at our next meeting, that will be our primary focus, is to enumerate the covenants that we would like to add to this process.
All right, thank you. I do not think, since Commissioner Morgan's not here, that we have a neighborhood working group report or a wellness working group report tonight with Commissioner Wallace. So I would like to get a rule of procedure project group update. And I think Sarah was actually supposed to give that one, so we get one more, unless somebody wants to jump in that's on that group. But I think we'll move on. And Commissioner Parham has left the room. He was going to give us our strategic planning project group update. Maybe we should just move into the new business.
Sure. I do think, even in the absence of Commissioner Parham, in your packet is a preliminary draft for a proposed agenda for the strategic planning retreat. So if you take a look at that and send any comments to Commissioner Parham and that project working group, that would be probably very appreciated. All right. Our new business, I wanted to give an update on the Walt Bellamy project. This morning, the crew was there, and all 3 slabs have been poured. We are on schedule for framing to be done by the 1st of the calendar year, and I just want to say that by the end of the month, in January. And I just want to say that the IMEC group has been a fabulous group to work with, very, very responsive anytime we've had any questions. And we do have power at the Walt Bellamy site as well.
I will add to that as well, Zeb, that I've received all the finishes for selection, the exterior vinyl, roofing, interior paint, flooring, cabinets, and was able to make selections and get that back to the contractor. So that shouldn't hold them up for any special orders.
No, he received them and told me so this morning.
Okay.
Commissioner Paraguay mentioned CDBG, and I think at this point, what I can say is that process is ongoing, and we are working very closely with Habitat and our CDBG coordinator to make sure that we're all on the same page moving forward. And as soon as I have any concrete report, I'll make sure that I update the commission. And I think, unless there are specific questions, I want to call your attention to the 2024 meeting calendar that you all saw. Last meeting, I did have some amendments to that document that I tweaked and included them in your agenda tonight. And so, if it would please the commission, I would love for you all to consider adopting that meeting calendar so that we can post our 2024 meetings on our website.
And I noticed in the calendar, you're including our redevelopment commission retreat on February 18th.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. As directed for my recollection, the Saturday in February will take the place of the business meeting for the month of February, and that it was the majority of the commission's pleasure to have it on a Saturday so that we could do a half-a-day retreat and not take up everyone's evening.
So is that a firm date?
17th,
17th.
17th, that's a Saturday. Okay.
The 17th is the Saturday.
Commissioner Strickland, you look like you have,
I think it is.
okay. So I can make the amendment to February 17th, and no problem.
Make
Mr.
a motion
Hart,
if we approve.
was there a time for the Saturday retreat in February?
I won't be able to do that.
I believe the commission spoke about a 9 to
9 to 3.
3. And that is found on the agenda that was provided in the packet.
But otherwise, the regular meeting schedule that's being proposed for 2024 would be at 6 o'clock, all the other meetings other than February.
That's correct.
I'm sorry.
So we have a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to adopt the
adopt it.
presented calendar for 2024 with the change that the February meeting is on the 17th at 9 a.m.
Second that.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Do we need a roll call vote, or is all in favor?
Voice vote is fine.
Voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, and the 2024 meeting calendar is adopted as amended with the February 17th date.
And Madam Chair, we have a calendar, and that concludes my staff report, unless there are questions from the commission.
Any questions? I have no questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Huff.
Absolutely.
And I do believe the last agenda item is to go into closed session.
Yes, ma'am, we do need a closed session tonight pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A5 to discuss the potential acquisition of real property.
Okay?
We need to entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. To go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries, and we will now ask the public to leave and go into closed session.
You can stay right here.
Okay.